Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Have a little slide. Okay. So my name is Sherry, and I was born with a hole in my heart. The doctors suggested to my parents that I need to have surgery, and my parents decided to go home and pray. And prayer and faith is what continued to be a lifeline in my world. I grew up in Asheville, North Carolina, and I was one of 5 children. There I am with the little hair bonnet there in the front. Nature was my playground. I played in the forest, and I enjoyed seeing God's majesty in the details and the mountains and the rolling hills, and loved the sweetness, savoring the sweetness of God in the veggies in the gardens that me and my parents and our sisters and brothers had. I had a very supportive village. Our family, extended family around us, our home, church, and school teachers, all of those were a part of my extended family. But innocence was stolen from me when I was around 8 years old. Someone in my family outside of my home that I was supposed to love and trust. The tickles turned into more than something that would make me laugh, but instead, it was an opportunity for him to release something that was bottled up inside of him. You know, if you know anything about trauma, you understand that trauma is the body's protective responses to an event or a series of events that's potentially perceived as potentially dangerous. Trauma's responses are unique to each and every person. However, trauma is not a personal fail. Trauma is never something that someone chooses. My response to this trauma, after my parents didn't understand when I tried to articulate it as an 8-year-old, trauma was pushed back in the farthest recesses of my mind. Innocence was stolen. So the theme for tonight is bottled up. And so I took a look at what that means in Webster's dictionary. Bottled up Webster describes it as to keep a feeling or emotion inside instead of expressing it. And it's dangerous. Let me tell you why. Those feelings don't go away. Those emotions stay down. And sometimes, physically, we're not able to express those. They often come out when they do fiercer than when they went down before. And it's usually stuffed with other things on top of it. So I remember the moment that this memory first came back to me. I was 21 years old. And I felt it all. Instead of seeking God, instead of going and asking for help, I chose to try to numb the feelings. So I started with promiscuous behavior and things that I thought would allow me to just continue stuffing that back up. That led to a lot of broken relationships, romantic relationships, 2 of those failed marriages, which included mental, emotional, and physical abuse. But I thank God for the intercessory prayer of my family. I told you that would be a lifeline. And more important, my children. I always knew that my greatest ministry was to parent, and to parent well, and to protect them. Even though at the age of 8, I wasn't able to be protected. So, I want to tell you a little bit about just why I was able to find some help about 13 years later through good counsel, supportive community, through people that were affirmative and people that were willing to be non-judgmental about the shame that I had stuffed so long. And I started poring over scriptures and reading what God was saying about me, that I was beloved, that I was his daughter. And scriptures like this passage in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, not to harm, but to bring hope into your life. That was a very important scripture to me. And another one that I recently read in Psalms is, God, save the serving girl. That one is so, so important because I am now the serving girl. And it's important to know that, what we experience in our lives, no matter how broken it is and no matter how bitter it tastes, that if we allow God to pour into us, to pour into the brokenness in those broken spaces and in the heart, the hole that had healed up in the scarring, if we allow God to speak to us and to heal, he will do it. So, I want to demonstrate. How I talked about the bottled hot water. Once that water comes into contact with the flower petals of our life and the leaves, and you allow God's Spirit to collaborate with your purpose and who he designed you to be, the flowers you see, the tea leaves expand and they give us flavor. They allow us to expand and feel all that God is wanting to do to purpose our pain. And the work that I get to do at the Pauline Tea Bar, and sitting with people and hearing their hurts and their pains and their traumas, I don't think I would be able to do that if I hadn't had God with me the entire time. He was with that girl. And he is healing. And healing is a lifelong process. And it's meant to be done in community and with people, and for us to embrace. And with the flowers, as the water expands on our tea leaves, we can then begin to produce the fruits of faithfulness and love and patience and kindness and forgiveness even. Allow God to use your pain. Get help. Stay in community. Don't bottle it up. Peace and further blessings, my friends.